Do you wonder how your business can experience steady growth? In this episode, we will address 5 tips to help you increase the revenue of your business and or the revenue of businesses that you support. At the end of this episode, I will share some grant opportunities that your business or a business you serve might find attractive. Some of you may know this. Growing up, I actually spent my early years in Nigeria. And whenever it was exam period, regardless of what subject it was, the teachers would typically say something like, heads down, pencils up, meaning you should only be writing and focused on what you are writing, focused on your paper. I feel like a lot of business owners actually do the same thing, especially small business owners. We focus on our business. We're heads down, turn our vision into it, and we really don't look up to see what's around. Today, I'm going to help you not only focus on the business, but share something and could help you grow your business. Some of you may know this. I'm a mom. I have a son. And I remember one Saturday telling my son to clean up his room. And he came down sometime later. I don't remember what the duration was. He had come down. He said, Mom, I'm done with my chores. My room is clean. Come see. So I was really excited because he did it on his own. And I went into his room. His bed was truly laid. There weren't toys on the floor. Things were put away. And for some weird reason, call it mom instinct, I opened up his closet. Lo and behold, everything was piled high there. Clean clothes, dirty clothes, shoes, you name it. Nothing was in order. In fact, he has a drawer in his closet, and even that was out of sorts. There were things piled on the closet, the drawer, around the drawer, clothes not hung. And I said, dude, your room looks neat, but it's not done. You've shoved everything in here. And I actually see this. I see this play out for a lot of businesses. When it comes to the business accounts, a lot of small business owners will shove everything in this one account. It pays for dinner, lunch, pays for personal expenses, business expenses. It buys machinery, pays employees, pays the owner. It literally does everything. The problem with this is it really doesn't help the business owner. In fact, your banker will tell you a lot of times for micro enterprises, one of the reasons you can't even get a loan is when they look into your accounts, it's too busy and they can't really tell what's going on. They can't tell if you're really making a profit because everything is there and nothing is clear and there's money coming in and it's all going out to different things. So it doesn't really give the true picture of your business. So the first tip today is separate. S for separate. As business owners, we need to keep our personal expenses separate from the business expenses. So literally, you need to have a personal account that is separate from your business. Even if you're a solopreneur, you can make money from the business and out of the business account, pay yourself an amount that is your income and transfer it to that personal account. You will keep your business account clean. Now, for those of you who are not micro enterprises, maybe your business is growing, you're at the second stage, you might already have done this, and that's great. But do you have a separate account for taxes, operations, and payroll? Or do you have one business account that does everything? I've read this in books, and I've even heard one of my favorite podcaster also share on this. You need to keep a separate account for taxes. Most accountants, CPAs, or people who manage your books will tell you about 25%. And that's a good percentage to put away. You might find out that you over time might need to put more or maybe even less away. But 25% is always a good average number and works for majority of people. And then you want to have an operations account. Your operations account is where you pay all the business expenses, buy things for the business, probably where all the revenue comes at first before you separate out taxes. And the third one is payroll. So before you separate out taxes and payroll, everything might go into one operating account and then you can break out taxes and payroll. Whether you're a solopreneur or not, you want to keep the payroll account separate. By doing this, you actually help nurture your business financially. Because one, you can determine if I have this much amount to pay for payroll, that means I only have this much left to invest into the business. So if, for instance, you already put 25% in taxes and maybe let's say your payroll is 25%, you only have 50% of the revenue to invest back into your business. So you can work back by saying, well, you know what? I need to hire one more person and maybe my payroll is going to jump up to 50%. But I can't afford to maintain the business on 25% of what I currently have. That means I need to be able to make enough sales to cover this much increase. And then, of course, your taxes increase and everything else. So it helps you work backwards to figure out what you need for your business. The second tip we'll talk about is the letter M. Monitor your cash flow. I'm going to ask you to do something, even though you're listening, regardless of what you're doing. Well, maybe not, because some of you might be driving as you listen. Do you think you could hold your breath for 1 minute? If you can do that, could you do it for 2 minutes? What about 3 minutes? I won't ask about 4 minutes because I believe it's scientifically proven that 4 minutes without oxygen to your brain, you could be dead. But for most of us, that's what we do to our business. We try to hold our breath for as long as we can when we don't monitor our cash flow. And what do I mean? The cash flow is the air that your business breathes. Without money coming in and fitting into that business, it cannot grow. So what do you need to watch out for? Number one, invoicing. You need to make sure that you're invoicing your client and that those invoices are getting paid. So you need to invoice on time so that your clients can pay you on time. And then negotiate favorable terms. Several years ago, when my husband and I got our first auto repair job, we wanted it to be different. We wanted to do certain things in there. And so we spent thousands of dollars renovating a leased space. I am too embarrassed to even share the number. A few years later, the building was sold. The new owner looked at our shop, saw all the work that was done in it, and wanted it for himself. We lost the space and the investment we had put into the building. We did not negotiate well. We could have negotiated that the past owner, deducted the amount of money we had spent into the renovation in the list or created some kind of term that would have served us. We didn't know better. And so whether you're negotiating leases or anything that's related to your business, I would say be careful to make sure that you're negotiating favorable terms and ask advice from other people. See what others have done, why they don't do certain things or why they would do certain things. Just like in your personal expenses, you look and review for unnecessary expenses that you don't have and cut them. You can do the same for your business. Monitoring your cash flow also involves building up a cash reserve. Consider getting a line of credit, even though I know these days I've heard a lot of people complain to say, no, it's harder to get a line of credit or they can't get a line of credit. There are different reasons for that and I won't go into it. But if you can, get one when you don't need it so that when you need it, it's there. And then just keep good records. That's part of monitoring your cash flow. The third tip is A for affiliations. I teach a course, Kidpreneur, in the summer, typically in attendance of middle school and high school students. And one of the favorite videos that I share is about Alina Mars. She is an entrepreneur, a very young entrepreneur. Well, she's older now, but she started out at age 11 or maybe 9. I don't remember, 9 or 11. And she invented a candy that's good for your teeth. I believe it actually cleans your teeth or at least leaves it healthy, unlike most candies. One of the things I love about Alina Morse is she actually knows the third tip is A for affiliations. It's a cliche now that your network is your net worth. But that is so true. I was recently at a meeting where an entrepreneur was featured. She didn't speak very good English, but she knew when she started her business that she needed to be connected. And by being connected, she gained clients even within the network. And she had access to so many resources. I know a lot of people think, chambers are just membership organizations that you could or could not join, but I would encourage you, check out your local chamber because they do more than just networking. Chambers do things like advocating for you. You want to know what's being advocated for you in your industry, in your state, in your city, in your local government. And there are so many opportunities to network these days. You don't even have to leave your home. There's so many online communities to join. But I would say if you can, go to at least one a week. If you don't like that audience, check out another organization. Be a part of your industry association so you know what's going on in there. You connect with other people who might need your service because you're in the same industry. Attend industry events. And if there isn't an organization near you, host one. I was listening to a podcast last year about an organization that started out because a lady started hosting events. And now that organization has grown across the country. And as you go to these events and these groups and associations and chambers, Nurture the relationships you grow there. Don't go there with a mindset to sell or just introduce your products. Go with a mindset to serve and meet people. Just keep an open mind. And as you meet people and tell people about what you do and learn about what they're doing, you begin to make connections. And over time, those connections become part of your network. Hey there, if you're just joining us, this is Small Biz Catalyst. We would like to invite you into Tag a Business Team. Here's what you need to do. Nominate a small business of your choice, tag them on our website at smallbizcatalyst.org. That's small, BIZCATALYST.org. Tell us your name, give us your email address because that's how we'll be able to tell you if you're a winner or not. And then give us a website to a business of your choice. It could be your business or somebody else's. Once you've tagged a business, you'll be entered for a $25 drawing to a local business of your choice. We'll announce winners every month. And now, back to the show. The fourth tip is revenue growth. To grow your revenue, there are basic things you would need to do. Invest in marketing. If nobody knows that your product or service exists, you are not yet in business. If only your family and friends know, you're still not yet in business. You need to promote your business. And that ties back to networking, but more importantly to marketing. And then know your tribe. Who is your customer? What does your customer avatar look like? A customer avatar is simply a representation of your business or a representation of the person that would buy from you. When I started my business a few years ago, we only did financial literacy training and we did it in schools. And although our end users were students, my customer avatar was actually the purchasing agent. So in some cases, it's the school administrator. In some cases, it's a department that purchases product. In other cases, it's head of certain schools or head of department or head of this or that. So I had to know who my client was, who was paying me, and then, of course, my end users. So the products were tailored to the student, but the marketing was tailored to the buyer. And sometimes they were parents. As you grow your revenue or as your business grows, you might need to pivot. Like for us, we started out in schools and then on campuses, but over time we started working with small businesses. And as we did that, we had to pivot and we got to the point where we started working with chambers and economic development organizations. And so even though you may start out with one product, we still actually cater to schools. But our focus and our business has changed and we've increased lines and just done some things differently. And then test the market. See if there's a demand for what you're about to put out or to see if there are changes that you need to make to it. I feel like I don't need to say this, but I know I need to. Gone are the days when you could start a business and have a business without having an online presence. These days, the first thing people look at is your website. Where are you? What are you saying? And what are you doing? So you need a strong online presence in order to grow your revenue. So to grow your revenue, you need to invest in marketing, know your tribe, have a strong online presence, be ready to pivot as needed, know your customer avatar, test the market. I teach a course called Kidpreneur, and in that course, we teach entrepreneurship to kids, and typically it's in the summer. One of the feature entrepreneur for that course is Elena Morse. Elena Morse is a young entrepreneur. She started out at age, I think, 9 or 11, and she makes candies that are actually good for your teeth. Because her dad told her she couldn't have candy as a little kid when the banker gave her one. Now, Elena has a map in her office that shows her where our products are currently being marketed. And one of the things I love about her is she knows where our products are, so she knows where she could expand and what she could do, what sales are coming in. And I actually did a review of our video, so I'm going to leave a link and you could check that out. The fifth and final tip is teller, and teller just represents banking relationships. I use T because banking starts with a B. And some of you might remember back in the day, banks actually had people who were called tellers. Now they're called customer service representatives. So a teller would typically be behind the counter. They took your money, took your deposits, and then they'll make your withdrawals for you. And the reason I put this here is because as small business owners, we're so busy a lot of times. And these days we can do everything online. Well, you need to have a solid banking relationship. Some of you might remember a few years ago when COVID happened and a lot of small businesses did not get access to the forgivable loans that banks were offering out because one, they didn't know what to do, they didn't know their banker, and everything was shut down. Well, there were some small, I remember actually a friend telling me that his banker had called him and made sure that he had access to the loan because he had a relationship with the banker. And it was a business relationship, but his banker was making sure that he didn't miss out. And when it was time for the loan to be forgivable, the banker let him know what the deadlines were, what to do, how to go about things. And I'm not saying that bankers should call every single person, but I'm saying it's important for you to have your bank know you because the people in your banks, they're people. We like people we know. We trust people we know. They want to know you. They want to trust you. They want to be involved in your business so they can offer you products as your business is growing. So get to know them. You might need to have more than one bank. That's fine. Check out the banks. Maybe a smaller bank is better for you. Perhaps a bigger bank, maybe even a credit union. Have more than one bank, but maintain good financial records and good relationship with your bank. Make sure you know their names, and whoever is there knows your name. Believe me, they want to know you. Establish credit worthiness. And even if your banker is not one of your best friends, or if you don't have their cell phone number, get their business number. Visit the bank if you haven't done so in a while. Get to know who's at your branch. I know for us, there were times when, maybe we had a huge purchase and we needed a quick turnaround of a deposit or something. And we might go to a different branch where nobody knows us in a different city and get a cold shoulder or maybe an iffy look like, is that really your account? But one call to our local banker or one visit and everything is done. You might say, well, that's not the right way to do things. The bank should respond to you regardless of where you are. But sometimes, believe me, those relationships make a difference. So we've talked about 5 points. SMART, SMART. S for separate, M for monitor cash flow, A for affiliation or network, R for revenue, and T for teller. These are the 5 simple tips that will help you grow a 6-figure consistent income in your business. They're simple, but they're not so easy to implement. Today, we'll be announcing 2 grant opportunities. The first one is the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Micro Entrepreneur Assistance for Texas. The program types funded are employment, economic development, job-related, and business grants. This applies only to the state of Texas. The United States Department of Agriculture is accepting applications to the Rural Micro Entrepreneur Assistance Program. The program provides loans and grants to micro-enterprise development organizations to help microenterprises start up and growth through a rural microloan revolving fund and provide training and technical assistance to microloan borrowers and microentrepreneurs. Microenterprise development organization must demonstrate experience in managing a revolving loan fund or certify that its or its employees have received education and training from a qualified microenterprise development training entity so that the application has the capacity to manage such a revolving loan fund, or demonstrate that it is actively and successfully participating as an intermediary lender in good standing under the U.S. Small Business Administration microloan program or other similar loan programs as determined by the administrator. Microlenders may take microloans for qualified business activities and expenses, including but not limited to working capital, debt financing, purchasing equipment and supplies, improving real estate. Grants are available to provide technical assistance to rural micro entrepreneurs or micro enterprise up to 205,000 annually. Funding at the requested level is not guaranteed, but at least 15% matching funds are required. Loans of $50,000 to $500,000 may be used for establishing a rural microloan revolving fund managed by the Microenterprise Development Organization. Total aggregate debt is capped at $2.5 million. Eligible areas. Rural areas outside a city or town with a population of fewer than 50,000 residents. Urbanized areas near a city of 50,000 or more may not be eligible. The borrower's headquarters may be based within a larger city, so long as the project subject area is located in an eligible rural area. The lender may be located anywhere. There is an address eligibility tool on the guideline page. Eligible applicants. The following are eligible to be a micro enterprise development organization: nonprofits, federally recognized tribes, institutions of higher education. The following are eligible to apply for a loan from the MDO as an ultimate recipient: businesses located in an eligible area with 10 or fewer full-time employees. The deadlines for completed applications to be reviewed for the quarterly funding competition are March 31st, 2025 and June 30, 2025. 2024 deadlines are already passed. You may go to rd.usda.gov to find out more about the grants, and a link to the guidelines and application will be in the show notes. The second grant is the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program. The program times funded are employment, economic development, job-related, and business grants, community improvement, and capacity building. This is a nationwide grant, so you can apply from any states. The United States of Agriculture is accepting applications to the Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program. This program provides funding for rural projects through local utility organizations. USDA provides zero-interest loans to local utilities, which they in turn pass through to local businesses, ultimate recipients, for projects that will create and retain employment in rural areas. The ultimate recipients repay the lending utility directly. The utility is responsible for repayment to USDA. USDA provides grants to local utility organizations which use the funding to establish revolving loan funds. Loans are made from the revolving loan funds to projects that will create or retain rural jobs. When the revolving loan fund is terminated, the grant is repaid to USDA. To receive funding for a grant or loan, an entity must be a current rural utility service, electric or telecommunication borrower, any former RUS borrower that has repaid or prepaid an insured direct or guaranteed loan under the Rural Electrification Act, or any non-for-profit utility that is eligible to receive an insured or direct loan under such act. Intermediaries may use rural economic development loans and grant funds to lend for projects in rural areas or towns with a population of 50,000 or less. The program is open nationwide. Applications for this program are accepted through the applicant's local office. Deadlines are first quarter, September 30, second quarter, December 31st, third quarter, March 31st, and fourth quarter, June 30, no later than 4:30 p.m. local time. You may find out more at .usda.gov. Maximum grant amount is $300,000. The deadline is March 31st, 2025. A link to the guidelines and application will be in the show notes. Thank you for listening to this episode of Small Biz Catalyst. Until next time.